There have been so many times I have seen a man wanting to weep, but instead beat his heart until it was unconscious. The poem by Nayyirah? WAHEED. Nayyirah. WAHEED.
Yeah.
Sorry. But beautiful poem. I think that's so simple and still...
It's a good segue to what we're talking about today.
Yeah. What are we well, hello. Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Wow. Episode 8. Woo-hoo.
Episode 8. Welcome to Not in Our Will. My name's Steph.
I'm Danny.
We are two women in our 30s.
Navigating trials and tribulations of life.
Raw.
Real.
Ready to talk.
Wow.
And we have a big thing to talk about today, don't we?
Yeah. We're going to be talking about toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity. And for y'all that don't know what toxic masculinity is.
So I'm just going to read it off to make it simpler, but we'll dive into it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Also, we normally say what's coming next week, but we've kind of been flying by the seat of our pants, so we don't know what next week's going to bring.
It'll be fun though, either way.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So toxic masculinity. So basically it's the idea that men have to conform to these rigid gender norms. Mm-hmm. So this can include things like that extreme competitive advantage and edge that you have, or you try to avoid losing at all costs. You refrain from expressing your emotions except for pride and anger. Those are what's deemed to be acceptable. Mm-hmm. You show strength and aggression in moments of conflict. Mm-hmm. And you like to be dominant in most situations, especially over women and other men who typically display typically displayed through microaggressions. So it's basically the idea of just being burly man.
Macho man, Randy's fucking savage.
Yeah.
So the signs of toxic masculinity could include violence, aggression, bullying and harassment, homophobia, misogyny, refusing to seek help when struggling mentally or physically, engaging in risky behavior that might cause harm to oneself or others, and also engaging in unhealthy behavior like smoking and drinking. So those are just some examples of it. And
the thought of today is not to if we're being frank and honest, the idea of us even starting the podcast was because of men and the toxic men. Okay, not all of the men. So I think that a lot of times when you talk about subjects like this, people are like, well, I'm not like that. This isn't about all men. But the fact is, it is all men, right? It's all men. And if you're not able to understand that it's all men, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
And I say this because when you think about it and you drill it down, you want to be safe. And a lot of the times what you are afraid of, or what a woman is afraid of, it's not a bear coming to attack me. It's there's a possibility of us being hurt by a man.
And it's not even like men suffer with this too, right? So
yep.
It's a lot of men have been bullied and harassed by men who have toxic masculinity, right? Yeah. Men can't show their emotions, and that's a huge deal. And that stems from a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And it stems from years and years ago. So a lot of the times in our society as humans, men are deemed as the breadwinner. Men are deemed as the protector. Men are the ones who go to war, right? Like back in the day, the men went to war.
Yeah.
So, for example, most men back in the day, like after World War II, were associated with the horrors of war because the men had to go to war. Yeah. So in the 1940s, men had to adhere to its specific characteristics.
Both of us today, apparently.
Oh my God, we stuttering. That defined masculinity. So, it was the greatest threat to manhood was being able to provide. So that could be providing for the housewife and the children in the home. That could be literally going to war and putting their life on the line. And when all of these men came back from the war, they had to go directly back into the workplace as if nothing fucking happened. As if nothing happened. Women were told, yeah, they could work for a little bit in certain positions while men were at war, but as soon as the men got back, men were right back in the workplace. They couldn't have PTSD. They couldn't have depression because all of those things were deemed as not masculine. You're a man, you need to man up.
I don't mean to not counter you because I think this is all valid and fair. But this toxic masculinity starts far beyond that.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
probably from when we were cavemen, right? Hunter and gatherers, you know?
It's part of human nature. And a lot of the arguments that I see men make in trying to dispute, oh, it's not a real thing. Toxic masculinity is not a real thing. It's in my nature to be tough and provider. You're right. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
it's in your nature to be the provider. That is part of your build as a human being, as it is for a woman to be the nurturer. Like, I completely understand that there are these things that are just innately built into us that we can't avoid, but it's the way that society has shaped men or shaped just gender norms and just freaking everything that we see and hear that makes it not okay for a man to be anything but this macho caveman, like man. But you can be a masculine man and not be toxic. Like there's there is a line, and what I'm hoping that through some conversation today we can identify, like, do you understand what that line is? Like, how do you guys get it? Because I, as a woman, like, I understand, and I mean, I'm not perfect, but I hear about this shit all the time, and
it's almost like there's a lot of different ways that toxic masculinity can take form.
Yes, for sure.
As women, we see it in a different way than what men see it.
Definitely.
Up, right? So with women, we see the men who, if we, they come up to us, say a man comes up to you and they're like, hey, baby, looking good, catcalling type thing. We see that as toxic masculinity.
For sure.
We don't need to be catcalled. We don't need to be DM'd. And then if we, let somebody down lightly, then all of a sudden,
we're a bitch.
Fuck you, you're a bitch. And it's the same thing as like dudes with their friends, right? If I told you I had slept with 10 people, right? Men would look at a woman and be like, oh, she's a whore.
Yep.
You know what they would do with their friends?
Yeah, celebrate. Fuck you. Woo, good job, buddy.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
no.
And that's a way that it comes through as well. And as women, that's how we see it. And that's how we have been dealing with toxic masculinity. Obviously, there's so many different other things. But with men, they can't be feminine. They can't show their emotion. If you cry, like say if they're in a soccer game or whatever, they get hit. If you cry, you're deemed...
You should not have used soccer as an example. Soccer is some next sport with the freaking
see?
tears in that game.
It's true. At least they can, show their emotion in that game. But like hockey, for instance, or, boxing or, whatever it may be. You don't see a male boxer get into a ring, get beat to shit and then cry.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of them want to.
Probably. It's very painful.
So why can't they?
Well, it's the idea that it's not okay, and it's that, see, the issue still stems with the idea of what masculinity means to people. Once we kind of soften those lines, people will be able to accept more and more and more. And I think that we've gone quite a long ways, to be honest.
We have, yeah.
But it's still very prevalent. Like I see it all the time, and I mean, I love TikTok, so I'm always on TikTok and I always see, but like there's people, like the things that some of these men say blow my mind. How you can think some of the shit that you guys do is okay.
There's this one TikTok, this reminds me, and it's literally a couple of people doing a podcast like you and I.
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
It's men sitting around a table, just how Danny and I are sitting right now.
Yeah.
And these men are going on to talk about birth and body image, things of this nature. This man goes on to say, if my wife doesn't get back in shape, gets to the gym right away, I'm not going to love her. I'm not gonna look at her as a sexual being anymore. After she gives birth to their fucking child, this man expects this woman to get right back into the gym, get the body back that she had before, or else he is threatening to not love her. That, my friends,
toxic
masculinity.
It's everywhere. It's I watched a video recently. There's this woman. She was going to the gym with her friend. She is an avid gym goer. Her friend doesn't know anything, and she says that in the video. And when they were there, they were getting their weights, and I don't fucking know the name of shit, but they were doing some sort of pull down things. But some man walks up without question, without anything, and just says, let me show you how to do that. Mm-hmm. The girl, it was her friend that was on it who doesn't know anything. So she's like, oh, okay. And he starts pulling down, and it's like only at like 90 pounds. I don't want to say only. It's at 90 pounds. Mm-hmm. And he's doing his exercise. He's like, yeah, like this is probably too heavy for you guys, but that's fine. I just want to show you the form and stuff. So the friend was like, okay, thank you. And he's like, why don't you try? So the girl went on, and she switches the weight to 160, starts doing it. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Normally I do it a little heavier than this, but I just didn't want to, make you feel. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you didn't need my help, did you? She's like, I surely did not. Mm-hmm. It's the idea that it's like, we don't need to be spoken to every 5 seconds. We don't need your help. We can ask. We can do that.
Yeah, exactly. We have the sheer capability to ask when we need help.
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing with like mansplaining.
Yeah.
Ever have a man explain something to you?
I can't think of anything, but I've like,
oh no, this is how you do it. And it's like, no. Shut up. So
if you don't know what mansplaining is, it's the idea of explaining something. Like, for example, if a man knows to explain or debate Stephanie on how her period is.
Yeah. Something that a man really doesn't have a say in.
And then trying to educate us because they think that as a man, they just automatically know better.
And you know what? This actually reminds me of a topic with toxic masculinity, actually. So if you ever drive by an abortion rally, 9 times out of 10, who the fuck is standing there with a sign? A white old ass man. I'm sorry, I'm just calling it as I sees it. That I'm being like completely honest. Who the fuck gave you the right to tell me what to do with my body?
But it's also the idea of it's the man in power. Mm-hmm. And again, like, I feel like this episode's very like, fuck you, man. But please remember that if you're like, that's not me, then it's not you. It's not you.
Yeah.
If you are debating what we're saying, then maybe you should think about things.
Yeah. Maybe you should, take a look at yourself in the mirror and tuck your dick inside your butthole and shut up.
I mean, her words. No, but it's the idea of power, and that's been a thing that like I said, I do feel like that's somewhat built into a man structure. I think that the idea of being powerful, strong, I think the idea of being strong then turned into power, which then turned into greed, which then turns into
hate and anger, and look at how big my dick is.
But it's like it's generation after generation after generation, after century of man trying to top man.
Yes, yeah.
Because the
woman sits aside and says, "Okay, honey."
Yes, dear. Your Majesty. Kings, queens, like, at every stage, it's been a man in power, and now we literally have a third war happening.
Mm-hmm. Because of men in power.
And I
obviously that's not just it, guys. We get it. Yeah. We understand that it's not just men doing this. We understand there's a lot of ulterior motives, but
drill it down.
Tone it down. Tone it fucking down a notch. And I would really love to see women in power and see how well they do. I'm not saying it's going to be fucking perfect.
No.
But I can tell you right now,
we would not be fighting for that for Ukraine. We would not let them have their. Why? Just let them have it.
Yeah.
Leave the people alone.
Leave fucking people alone. You don't have to show your worth to people. That's a lot of what it is, eh? Like showing their I'm the big man on campus. This is my worth. You need to see it. Right. You need to see it. And if you don't see it, I'm gonna make you see it. But
it's also. I'm going to move a little forward, but the idea of this repressed sexuality, you can't express you can't.
Repressed sexuality is a massive thing in toxic masculinity. Massive, because I think at the end of the day, sexuality and gender is fluid, right? There's no this side or this side. Yes, you can be straight. Yes, you can be gay. But I think a lot of it is humans were told you are straight or you are gay or you are this or you are that. You know what I mean? We've always been told this or that, this or that, this or that. There is no this or that. It's
all we're humans.
Everything in between is still a sexuality. And if these men feel like they need to be a man and they can't, I don't know,
paint their nails.
Yeah.
Wear a skirt.
Yeah.
I literally, now that I'm single and I'm very intrigued to see, because I find the idea of somebody being a little more fashion forward so attractive.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a t-shirt and pants. There's this world around us, all these beautiful things and ways that we can express ourselves that we don't have to repress it.
And bringing it back to toxic masculinity, the men who are toxically masculine will look at something and be like, oh, that's gay.
Yeah.
First of all, don't ever say that anymore. Right. That is not socially acceptable.
Should have never been, but
we've learned. We've moved on. But yeah, some men can't wash their face. Yeah. Can't do self-care. Because what? It is going to make you a woman? It's going to make you want to suck dick?
Boys, put down the 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner combos.
My boyfriend does it. Shout out, babe. But I was like, honey, what are you doing? I'm like, you need conditioner and a shampoo.
Especially with
He's like, what? I'm like, yes. With his hair, I know.
Men, it's okay.
It's okay.
I was having a conversation with my friends the other day, a little while ago, talking about, putting a mask. It's really nice for your skin. It's rejuvenating. And they're like, nah, 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 nah. But they one of them tried it, and whether he knows I know this or not, I know he tried it. But
we know.
But what is the problem? What is the issue?
You know what? It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have these emotions. And whoever told you that you couldn't, that's the problem. They're part of the problem. So don't keep repeating it. And that's when I was talking about the whole war thing. That's a lot of it. That's what it comes down to, right? These men came home from the war and they had to repress all of their emotion and everything that they were feeling. So they became cold and distant and didn't hug their children and didn't tell people how they felt. And then these sons of these men and these daughters of these men, that's what was expected. Yeah. And it just keeps going and going and going until we can break these patterns. And unfortunately, as we can see, history is repeating itself. It's going to do the same thing over in Ukraine now. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just going to be even though I guess women can now fight in the war, which is good, but still, it's that whole breaking the generational curve, I guess. You can try, but it's honestly, as somebody who as a single mom who's raising 2 boys, I really try to emphasize the fluidity of life, in that it's not A plus B. It's it's just not black and white. It's gray.
It's gray. And then my kids used to paint their nails all the time, and both the grandparents, the grandpas on both sides
probably didn't like it.
They didn't like it, to the point that even their dad questioned it at some point. But then he's like, whatever.
See, that's the thing, right? That's what I mean. It comes from the freaking generation.
Yeah. But
You gotta break the cycle.
You break the cycle, because it's not worth it. I mean, my sons simply want to just paint and be colorful, and they wanted to be like mom, because I got my nails done that time. And like, what is so wrong about that? There's
nothing wrong
so
with that.
Precious.
It's so precious, and it's so cute, and they should be able to express themselves however they want to express themselves, right?
Yeah.
And think of even the children who were coming out as LGBTQ and having to deal with that, with a toxic masculinity vibe in their household. Right? Then you get the conversation therapy. Then you can't be gay. There's no such thing. Lord and Jesus, Savior Christ wouldn't like that.
That's the thing. Like, there just seems to be so many different like sectors of just like grouping, culting, whatever the hell you want to call it, that just hate the idea of allowing people to just be themselves and human.
I know.
Like,
construct.
You know, it's funny. I've never really knew about toxic masculinity, and I don't know if it's like just because it's somewhat more prevalent in like, I guess, in conversation now, and like more the newer generations are starting to call people out more, which I applaud and honestly think that's amazing. But I think part of it is also, at least with my group of friends, I don't feel like any of them are toxic masculine guys, so I don't feel like I've been around it as much. Then I have my brother and my dad, which I feel are somewhat toxic masculine men. Yeah. So I've separated early from them to go and be with these group of guys that I remember when I first started dating my ex. He's probably one of the more macho men that I think compared to the group. And I remember he was like, "What's wrong with like your friends?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Well, they're all like women." And I'm like, I had to like, you know, ask, like I didn't understand. He's like, "Well, they all just like tell each other their feelings, and like they like talk about their emotions." And like, it totally weirded him out. Yeah. Years later, he's like, "I get it," as he like crying to me. Like, it sometimes you don't realize how powerful it could be to let all sexes, all genders, all ABs, to just be and talk about their feelings and say when they're upset. And I'm very proud of my group of friends, and that we've all, for the most part, been able to express to each other if we are feeling sad or something's bothered us or whatever, because you need that, because that honestly creates trust. You're able to be vulnerable, you understand each other, it creates bond, blah blah blah.
Well, and it's funny too, because toxic masculinity can be linked back to internal misogyny, right? So how we as women view each other as women, which comes also down to toxic masculinity. It's one and the same, I think, personally. So to be internally misogynistic is to viewing women as if they're not equals. So, I mean, it's the same kind of deal as toxic masculinity.
Yep.
But a little bit different, I suppose, because women are a little bit more, I would say, bitchy and judgmental with some stuff, right? So, but yeah, it's funny how it all
see, and like circle. I think, if I'm understanding, but like I do think that like there are, as if there are toxic men, there are bad feminists where the idea of equality doesn't make sense. Like, you need to understand that men are still men, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you know, men are still men, females are still females, and like, there are still things that like we might not be able to do. Like, I don't, there's some things that I can't be equal to a man for, not because
just body shape
or stuff like that. But then there are women that are so unbelievably strong and can fucking kick ass.
Well, think of it this way: unless you're a trans person, women are the only ones that can have kids.
Yep.
Right? You have to have the body part to do so. Yeah.
So like, there's with that being said, the idea of equality needs to be, again, fluid. It's not we get equal all the time. That's not equality. It's about being viewed, all of us
being heard
as humans, being heard, no matter what we look like, no matter who we are, that's equality.
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter our race, no matter any of that. This idea of toxic masculinity needs to cut it out.
Eradicate it. Like fucking COVID.
The idea of, I can't think of a word, like I just think of feminist, but I feel like there's like a toxic feminist type.
Well, there absolutely is. There's feminists who, I would consider you and I feminists.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be people in any fucking group that take it way too far.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Any gender, any race, any religion. There's always going to be people who take it way too fucking far. Because that's just what humans do. So in terms of feminism, there's women who are like, fuck men. Fuck men. We're superior. Humans are superior. Women are superior. Men should just all die and blah, blah, blah. That's not what we're saying. We love men. Okay?
We love men.
We love men. And we know some great fucking men.
Absolutely.
We just also know some not so great men. But and we know some not so great women.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Let's get some views of toxic masculinity from men.
From men. Okay.
From men. Because, I mean, two women sitting here. We can talk on the topic, but let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
So philosophical. Okay, so this is off of a Reddit, I don't know.
Gotta love Reddit.
Chain
Post?
Sure. So it's
subreddit. It's a subreddit.
Yeah, I don't understand Reddit, but I know Reddit is great.
Reddit, and then there's subreddits of Reddit.
Cool.
Reddit is amazing. Yeah, look into it. It's good.
What's a form of toxic masculinity you've experienced in your life as a male? Okay. So the first one, people act like I'm suspicious or dangerous when I travel alone with my daughter.
Like, is that the father? Are you the dad?
Yeah.
Maybe he's a scary looking dude.
Whenever I go out in public, people without her mother, I get people watching me very closely.
Ooh, interesting.
Okay, so another gentleman says, I've been called gay for rescuing a starving kitten and bringing it to a shelter.
How does that make you gay?
Why?
And if that does make you gay, then I'm gay.
Honestly. Like, we get it. It's extremist, but it happens.
Yeah,
like
this is the epitome of toxic masculinity we're trying to talk about here.
I get made fun of for wearing life-saving safety gear on job sites.
I know a lot of men like that.
I know a lot of men like that.
Oh, I don't want to wear the helmet. It looks stupid.
I just, yeah. And again, I mean, my ex is in construction. Very rarely does he wear safety things. You know how many times that man has got fucking shit
toe
to his eye all the time? And then he'll sit there for 3 days being like, there's something in my eye. I'm like, no shit. Put on the glasses.
Yeah.
But what else I want to say about that is, though, you as the father or the boss, the general contractor, whatever the fuck, you are the example for the people below you.
Set the example.
There was literally nothing wrong with safety, and it does not make you more feminine to care whether you're gonna chop
or die.
Like, seriously.
Oh my god,
I'm gonna get rattled by the end of this.
My ex-husband used to do that too. He used to get these little glasses. I mean, mind you, they were totally doofy looking. Super doofy, but like, you know, the clear glasses to go around just in case you got shit in your eye.
Yeah.
My dad is the same way. He will not wear anything. I'm fine. I don't need it. I'm a man. I don't need it. I can't tell you how many times he's like. One time he got a freaking, what was it? A rake or something? Something smoked, popped up and hit him in the eyeball. Luckily, he wears glasses like me, and it saved his eye because he would have like lost an eyeball. But what? Because he's too cool?
I don't know what it is.
He's a man.
I think it's also, there's some sort of weird innate thing in you as a man to feel, hold on, I'm going to lose it. I can feel it, the train leaving the station in my head.
You lose your like, you don't look as much of a man. Like, you're not portraying yourself as a man. If you're not you're afraid to get hurt, you're not a man.
Yep.
Like that, you know, there's that TikToker that like, be a man. You ever seen that one?
No.
It's like stupid shit like, don't take the garbage out. When you do it at the very last minute. Be a man. Like stupid little. It's done in like it's a funny. It's like a joke thing, but yeah.
But there's like the whole idea of like weaponized incompetence. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which if you don't know what that is, that's the idea of basically saying you cannot do a simple task and use it as a weapon against your partner. Mm-hmm. I'm too stupid to load the dishwasher. I don't know how to do that. I don't do it right. You are the best one at doing the laundry. Oh, if I'm to do the laundry, I'm gonna ruin the clothes.
I'm gonna make your shirt
weaponized incompetence. We don't think you're stupid for that shit. We think you're stupid for other reasons. I'm sorry. Okay, number 4, from a man's perspective, getting shit on for not caring about sports.
Ooh, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. I've dated a few guys who have been super into sports, and then I've dated a few guys who've been kind of into sports. But yeah, like, it's a camaraderie. You know, all the guys, all the dudes going out to watch hockey. Yeah, bro hockey. Yeah. Football.
Yeah. Play some.
If you don't like football, you're a pussy. Why don't you like football? You know, like.
Again, it's. My question to all of these are why? But why? You know what I mean? Like, just why?
Yeah, I don't know. It's dumb.
Okay. My earliest memory of toxic masculinity was when I was on my first grade basketball team. We got to pick our jersey numbers. I chose 14 because it was my aunt's number. When I told them this, the coach laughed at me. Apparently, looking up to a non-male athlete was frowned upon.
What?
I genuinely don't get it. I got raped by an ex. Not nearly everyone I've told starts by arguing the toss that it wasn't rape because it's a female to a man. I actually have experience with this. A friend of mine from back in the day, in high school.
Sorry, we just got the most toxically masculine reply to our thing on Instagram just now. So we just did a little live thing. Tell us your worst experience with toxic masculinity. Do you want to know what this person said?
What did you say?
Having to listen to you talk about it.
Stop it.
No lie. So, our Dave Rue, go fuck yourself.
Are you serious? Wow. See?
Yeah. See?
So simple.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that so funny, guys? That just fucking happened? That's toxic masculinity. What, you don't want to hear us talk about it?
Don't listen,
bad, brother.
But don't listen to us.
Yeah.
We're not asking you to listen to us.
If you don't like it.
Wow.
Stick your fucking dick in your asshole and go on get. Because we don't want you listening either.
I posted a TikTok that was a transitional TikTok of me looking ratchet to me looking nice.
Yeah.
And this like 13-year-old boy commented on it, making fun of the transition. Like, but what? For what purpose? And I'm like, and I responded saying, just keep scrolling. He's like, yeah. I'm on TikTok, you dumbass. That's all I do on here. I'm like, what is happening? Who are these
internet trolls?
What is the problem?
Why did that person say that? Can you believe that?
Like, well, you know what can you do? Like,
yeah, I mean, hey,
I don't know what to do after that. Well, we're a bit rattled from it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's hilarious because, like, I would love to see what this guy has to say.
Let's check out his. You know what?
He's on private though. He's on private, so we can't see any of his stuff. He has 0 posts too, and he didn't even say talk about it. He just said listen.
Having to listen to you talk about it.
About. He didn't say it. He just said about.
Having to finish your fucking sentence, dumbass.
Wow. Learn yourself.
Interesting.
Interesting, eh? Like, how much hate do you have in your life that you have to do that?
I don't know what to tell you.
Go fuck yourself. That's
yeah,
what I
sure.
gotta tell you.
Whatever your name is.
RDAVREUX.
Fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. You're the part of the problem, my friend.
You are the problem, my friend.
You are the problem, and that's the issue. And this is what we're trying to get across, that people like you need to expand your mind a little bit, eh?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe just a bit would be good for you, but hey.
I find like another thing, like colors are such a issue with men as well. Like I feel, you know, if a man wears purple or pink or something like that, then like comments would be made.
It's true. Like, why are you wearing a pink shirt
or a scarf? Like,
yeah, it's true, eh?
Like, there's I'm a bit thrown off by Mr. Dave Rue, but
you know what, it's fine. Whatever.
Gives a fuck.
He's probably a sad little man in his sad little mom's basement. So you know what? We're not going to worry about it.
So how do you feel about these women that are like calling out the toxic men? So because
I think it's great because we just did it.
Yeah, well.
So, I mean, it gets to a point.
There's like that, you know, that girl on TikTok that drew.
Oh, she's amazing. Yeah,
sorry, but yeah,
she's great because she's just literally putting men in their place when they have no place to stand in the first place. You know what I mean? Like literally, that is a prime example of that.
Yeah.
What stance do you have on anything? You didn't say absolutely anything valid.
Yeah.
Except for something rude to make yourself feel better. Do you feel better? No, you don't. You don't. You know what I mean? And she's doing the exact same thing. Like, she literally calls him out. Like, do you feel good about yourself right now?
Yeah. But she, you know, it did take me a while to like understand, because when I was listening to her, she like dives into these men.
Oh, she does.
And she will say, she dives into them and she will talk about, hold on, my mother is calling and it's going onto my iPad. Okay. As long as we're still going. Yeah. But yeah, she'll like talk about the like she'll like bring them down, like talk about their shortness, talk about their hairline, talk about this thing. So for me, when I was first listening to it, I'm like, how is that any better? How is that any different? But then I come to, like, I rewound it back, I understood, I listened to it, I'm like, one, she's giving them a taste of their own medicine.
Exactly.
Two, she never seeks out.
No.
It is brought in.
Yeah, they are the ones that started, just like how this just happened. The only thing that we did
was ask an experience of toxic masculinity.
Yeah. If you have anything to contribute
to the conversation, of value.
So
she will call them out and she will usually, most of the time, rebut every single fucking thing they say with some sort of fact. So I've come to realize, okay, her bringing them down, talking about their hairline, talking about their shortness, whatever it is, it's to give them the taste that they need, a little punch, because the reality is, and I think she understands this, is that they don't give a fuck. Like, it's not going to change. I don't know what will change.
This internalized toxic masculinity. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's fucking internalized, and it has been internalized in a lot of these men's head for a very long time. And they see their fathers acting like this. They see their friends acting like this. They see their uncles, their mentors, their coaches, their teachers, and that's the fucking issue.
So I ask you that if any of this sits with you in a funny way, or even just look around at your life. When you see something that you're like, I wouldn't do that, or that looks like weird on that person, or that doesn't look normal, start to question it. Like, don't make your judgment, think about it, have a moment of some realization in yourself to be like.
And you know what, a lot of the times too, maybe if a man, for instance, says something like, oh, I can't do that, no, I don't want to do that, that would make me look weak, or like just insinuating the fact, maybe question them. Say why do you feel that way?
Yeah.
And see them stutter on their words a bit, because they don't know why, because it's internalized.
Yeah.
And they were told they should be like this, and they haven't taken a step back to be like, maybe I shouldn't.
It's good. It's a learning process, as everything is.
That it is. That it is.
That it is.
That it is. I mean, we could, talk about this for days, but
I think we'll end it there.
Yeah.
The goal of this, although I do feel like it was quite an aggressive podcast, and I do apologize.
However, I think sometimes people are passionate. And there's a difference between being passionate in the right way and being passionate in the wrong way. And toxic masculinity comes from being passionate in the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, from us talking about it, you can see that we are passionate in the right way.
Yeah, and we just want to open people's eyes. There's a lot of lessons to be learned in every aspect of life.
Mm-hmm. We ain't no shaman, okay?
No.
We're not Gandhi.
Care to hear what your opinions are, if you've had any experiences yourself that you want to share in any of our forums. Like, we're super interested to hear it, because it happens all the time. And I ask you, if you are a man, I do really push you to kind of
challenge the norm.
Yeah, challenge the norm and look at yourself and see what does this mean anything to you? Like, what is toxic masculinity? What is it?
And how can you better it? How can you change it? How can you not be another pog in the system, you know? But on that note, I guess we should talk about our musical peeps today. So I was really excited about this topic because I could feature one of my favorite up-and-coming artists named Idols. They are a British-Irish rock band, post-punk, pop, punky. They don't like to call themselves punk, but if you were to listen to them, you would agree they do have quite a punk sound. They're from Bristol. They started off in 2009, and this is from the words of the band themselves. This band manifests itself in a crusade against toxic masculinity, which they do. So if you're like me and you're a lyric person, read the lyrics of the two songs that I chose and you will understand why. But yeah, they are amazing, and I really think you should check them out.
I'll put a clip. You'll hear the second song here. Nice.
All right. Well, on that note,
catch you on the flip side.
Let's boogie, baby. Let's boogie.